Ladies and gentlemen, and all the others, this is Alex Ridley 7FTM, along with Vicky, K8VKY. We will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia number 120. This is a directed net, so all traffic should go to net control. Does anyone have any emergency or priority traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come now. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read for each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And the question of the night tonight, an easy one. Have you ever accidentally glued your hands together? Fingers, hands together. Just your hands, not someone else's hand. But most guys, I think, would admit they've done this. Most women, probably not, because they have more sense than we do. But have you ever accidentally glued your hands together? And let's see who we have checked in so far. KJ6ARR, German George in Scottsdale, always plays by email. He got his question correct. And JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. He's visiting family today in Tokyo, so he's got his priorities straight. So he checked in and out with his, or checked in email also. We also have Mike, KN6MIK in San Diego, California. Livelell in Monterey, California, N6MOT. KK7HLB, Dave in Portland. KK7AVK, Victoria in Phoenix. V3RWJ, Chris in Ancaster, Ontario. KF6HTJ, Brent in Pensacola. N7FGP, Scott in Houston. N5ZUA, Steve in Houston. K8BYU, Roy in Blaisdell, New York. KD6CIR, Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon. W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. And let me drop. KE5MUX, Teresa in College Station, Texas. VK2DY, Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia. KC2, JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York. Welcome back. K7FPS, Fred in Reno. Oh, Fred. KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. K3BPA, Chad in Cadogan, Pennsylvania. KN6JLX and KN6JLW, Larry and Stephanie in Elk Grove, California. Chris in Hollywood, KQ4UBK. VA3YBS, Bill in Denville, Ontario, Canada. KJ5MNV, Bernie in Gretna, Louisiana. And W2AJV, Anthony in Atco, New Jersey. It's a good start. Anybody else like to check in? Get yourself a trivia question. Full call sign, phonetically, twice and slowly, please.
No, Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo. Kilo Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo.
Kilo Juliet 7 down the road. Victor Bravo with KJ7 RVB. Whiskey Hotel, Whiskey Hotel.
Oh, Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo. Kilo Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo.
All right, let's hold it up there. We also picked up KC7 Zulu Bravo, Hal in Hillsboro, Oregon. KJ7 RVB, Ray and Cody, Wyoming. And W9DWH, David in Owensboro, Kentucky. And again, the question of the night, have you ever accidentally glued your hands together? I don't know who would do it on purpose, but we're just looking for accidentally. And at the top tonight, we have Mike in San Diego, KN6MIK.
Good evening, Alex. Always a pleasure. KN6MIK, Mike here in San Diego. Well, not my hands, but definitely my fingers more time than I can count. As a side hobby, I fly a lot of RC aircraft, so I've got tons of super glue. Go ahead, I'll take a question, Alex.
It really wasn't much of a problem until they came up with super glue, was it? And then right away, Anyway, your question, Mike, is, a German entrepreneur Siegfried Rothhauser wanted to sell 75 and 100-watt light bulbs, but the European Union's legal light bulb limit, yes, there is such a thing, is only 60 watts. How was Rothhauser able to get around the law? A, he sold his bulbs as heat balls for warming your house. B, he claimed the bulbs could be used in seances to communicate with the dead. Or C, he claimed his bulbs were environmentally friendlier than other bulbs and were also gluten-free. What did he come up with?
You know, Alex, as crazy as it sounds, I'll go with B, Bravo. K6MIK. Back to you, Alex.
I think that bulb maker came before this guy. I'm not. No, what Mr. Rodenhauser did was he sold them as heat balls for warming your house. You see, you couldn't have anything over 60 watts, so his got warmer than everyone else's, so he sold them as heat balls. Now it worked, and since he was the only one selling anything brighter than 60 watts, he made a fortune. I don't know if he's still selling it. That was, I think, 2022, but yeah, it could be. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for participating, buddy. Let's go to Little Island, Monterey, California. N6MOT accidentally glued your hands together at least once, huh?
Well, N6MOT, yes, absolutely, many times. Models and gluing stuff together, just messing with the super glue. Matter of fact, I did it the other day at work. Anyway, I'm ready for a question.
Has your boss said anything, or probably nice, probably done it too, he or she? Your question, Little Island, ever since, let's start over again. Ever seen the World War II movie Bridge on the River Kwai? It's based on a novel written by French author Pierre Boulez. Now, Boulez also wrote another story that was turned into a movie. Which one are we talking about? A, The Longest Day? B, Breakfast at Tiffany's? Or C, Planet of the Apes? That's the most ridiculous answer on that question, and you're correct. Yeah. Pierre Boulez wrote Planet of the Apes, and the original one, and it was adopted into the movie too. I don't think I could think of two movies more different than Bridge on the River Kwai and Planet of the Apes, except maybe that one about woman. Never mind. Thank you, Little Al. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. How you doing, Dave? You ever accidentally glue your hands together?
KK7HLD, yes. Same answer. Too many hours of gluing RC airplanes and many other stuff. Over to you. Thanks very much, Alex.
Thank you, Dave. This may be a runaway, at least for the guys. Because your question is, hey, you get the weird news trivia story of the week, Dave. It's here it is. Which one of the following was an actual news headline from this week? A, 133-year-old coffee maker Maxwell House changing name to Maxwell Apartment. All right. B, ESPN to no longer cover sports. Will focus exclusively on WNBA. Or C, Antifa instructs all chapters to begin Christmas looting early this year. Which of those was an actual headline, Dave?
All right, well, that's a tough one. My wife thinks it should be C, but I'm going to say B because I don't believe Antifa could be organized as that organized. They probably don't even know Christmas. KK7HLD.
Well, in this case, it was the most ridiculous one. I think the most ridiculous answer is the true one. It's A. 132-year-old coffee maker Maxwell House is changing their name to Maxwell Apartment. According to Holly Ramsden of Kraft Heinz, Maxwell House's parent company, nearly one-third of Americans rent versus purchasing a home, and the brand is aiming to help today's consumer who faces rising coffee and home prices with our affordable coffee, now called Maxwell Apartment. I thought that was an Onion headline when I first saw it, but thank you, Dave. And if you go downtown, punch an Antifa protester in the nose for me. Thanks. Victoria in Phoenix, KK7AVK. Ever accidentally glued your hands together, Victoria?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. I think as a kid, I probably glued one or two fingers together, and I've learned my lesson, so I'm pretty terrified of that idea, so I always wear gloves if I have to glue something. So probably happened once, I think.
Well, then you glue your gloves together, but they're the disposable kind, I guess it didn't matter. All right, your question is, in 2024, two Chicago carjackers were caught by police after they were foiled by A, a victim with a handgun who dispatched the armed suspects, B, an undercover police officer whose vehicle they tried to jack, or C, a manual transmission, which one of those foiled the carjackers.
I think that the two fun options are B or C, but let's go with Charlie this time. Thanks, Alex. Have a great evening. KK780K, back to net.
That is correct. No weapons needed. The manual transmission foiled the carjackers. A 41-year-old man was sitting in his Acura sedan when police said two armed male suspects entered the car demanding the victim's wallet. The victim exited the vehicle and the suspects attempted to flee in it, but were unable to do so because the car had a manual transmission. What's wrong with kids these days? Criminals can't drive it. It's funny as heck. Thank you, Victoria. Over to Chris in Ancaster, Ontario, V3RWJ. Welcome back, Chris. Ever glued your hands together? Maybe you haven't, I don't know.
No, so far I have not done that. Ready for my question.
Now, everyone keep in mind, Chris is sight impaired, and he's never glued his hands together, yet most of them have. Your question, Chris, is the sex of an alligator is determined by A, the gender it identifies with. Gators are the G in LGBTQ, for those who don't know. B, how many female gators are available in the group? Or C, the temperature of the outside air during incubation. What determines the sex of an alligator?
Okay, I'm gonna guess C.
And yes, C is correct. Yeah, it's the outside air during incubation. If it's warmer than 93 degrees during incubation, only male gators will hatch. Below 86 degrees, and you get only females. So the sexes are temperature specific. Thanks, thank you, Chris. All right, Brent in Pensacola, welcome back. KF6HDJ via the text line. Have you ever accidentally glued your hands together?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and the rest of the net. Not my hands, but I have glued my fingers together, and it was probably because I was curious that it was on purpose, kind of like accidentally on purpose, because I was curious. Getting my tongue stuck to the side of the freezer. But that's a story for another trivia net. Back to you for my question.
Yeah, no problem. We're taking fingers too. Fingernails, fingers, thumbs, palms, whatever you got, you glue together at one time or another. Your question is, the 1980s band REM made a song titled Losing My Religion. What's the song about? A Christian becoming an atheist. B, a bad relationship. Or C, being a ham radio operator on a repeater network. And while you're at it, you should lose your politics too. What do you say, Brent?
I'm going to go with Bravo. Back to that control. Camp 6 HDJ.
And that is correct. Yeah, it's about a bad relationship, losing my religion song. It's losing my religion is a southern expression meaning to be at the end of one's rope, which is probably another southern expression, but as you know, REM is from Georgia, as most people know, so you got it, buddy. Thank you. It's a W7FTM along with KE8VKY. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're going next to Scott in Houston. N7FG. How about it, Scott? You glue those hands, fingers, palms, knuckles together at one time or another?
Good evening, Alex and Vicky. You know, when I buy a bottle of super glue, I just go ahead and buy a bottle of acetone along with it because I know I'm going to glue my fingers or together or my hands to something that I'm working on. So, yeah, I've done it a time or two. Ready for a question?
That's a C. Now, that's planning ahead. This would be a firefighter teacher should have planned ahead. Your question is, the 1978 James Brolin movie The Car spawned a children's game that involved A, players competing by racing cars through red lights, stop signs, and jumping over bridges, so that rush hour in Phoenix. B, players competing by crashing cars with one another, sounds like driver's ed. Or C, players competing to avoid getting run over by Satan. What was the game about related to the movie?
I have no idea. Let's go with Charlie. Thanks for doing the net. N7FGP.
Yeah, that's what it was. They pulled the game. You know, they created it and decided to pull it because you know, kids playing the game where they're supposed to avoid getting run over by Satan is just not appropriate. At least not in 1978. Now they probably laugh at it. The Car was a horror movie that almost ended after James Brolin's career. It was that bad. So if you're gonna watch that guy, watch him something else. Thank you, Scott. Stephen Houston, N5 the UA. Oh, I know you've had to glue your hands together at one time or another.
Well, good evening, Alex and Stephen Houston here. No, I've never actually glued one hand to the other. However, a couple of years ago, I was trying to fix a sole on a shoe that was coming detached, so I bought some boot glue, which essentially is super glue with a different name on the bottle, and somehow my thumb wound up stuck to the sole. When I pushed it back on the shoe, it squished out the side, and I didn't know that, and I was sitting there trying to hold it, and then I went to move my thumb, and, well, I couldn't, so there you go. But soaking it in a little bit of hot water, and everything was fine. So, ready for a question.
Okay, yeah, we'll take that as a no since it wasn't one digit to the other or what. Yeah, we'll take that one. Now, I didn't plan this question this way. It's just the next one up. What is the longest passenger train route in the world? The longest one in the world. Is that A, the Trans-Siberian Railway, B, the California Zephyr, or C, the Oriental Express, the Orient Express?
either A or C, and I'm going to go with C, I think. N5ZUA.
And it's a long one, but the longest one is the Trans-Siberian Railway. It's 5,772 miles. And see, the Zephyr, I think, is 2,400. And the Oriental Express, what I think used to be the Orient Express, they shortened it 1,200. So either way, it's a long time to be on a train. But you know, you can meet interesting people on a train. I was on the Oceanside to San Diego Amtrak some years ago, and this attractive woman sat down next to me, and I started a conversation with her. And after a few minutes, she started me and said, "Every time you smile, I feel like inviting you to my place." So I said, "Great, are you single?" And she said, "No, I'm a dentist." I got the missing tooth replaced shortly after that. Thank you, Steve. Roy in Blasdell, KA8BYU. Roy, you glued your hands, fingers, or other digits together at one time or another?
Evening, Alex, and everybody on the net. KA8BYU. No, but I managed to one night to take a guy to the hospital when I was working on the ambulance crew, who not only glued his hands together to the super glue bottle, but also to the item that he was working on. Yeah, that required some definite surgical intervention on that one. Ready for the question.
I won't ask what the item was because we probably don't want to know. Your question, though, is, in 2007, Dr. Pepper caught some flack for holding a promotion asking people to search for an old American coin they had buried in A, Central Park, B, the Grand Canyon, or C, Boston's most historic graveyard. Where did they bury the coin?
I have no earthly clue, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to go with Charlie. And it was actually not something that was really that bad. He glued himself to a toaster.
Oh, okay. I was thinking some other mechanical device, but now toaster. That's not too bad. Thanks. Thank you, Roy. And you were correct. Yeah, it's they held a promotion where they buried and hid an old coin in C, Boston's most historic graveyard. The old Granary Burying Ground has John Hancock and other historical figures buried there. Dozens of people showed up to dig for the coin, and Boston quickly shut down the promotion because that's pretty stupid. Why would you? Anyway, yeah, people make mistakes. Thank you, Roy. You got it, buddy. Wes, Grants Pass, Oregon, KD6, EIR. Ever accidentally glued your hands together, like when you're fixing, one of the frets on your guitar or one of the bridges or something?
No, Alex, I leave that to the professionals. I think I've glued fingers together, not hands. But yeah, that super glue, it's pretty intense. Goes off fast, that's for sure. And the previous question is funny. Apparently, idiocy in marketing departments apparently isn't a new thing. What's my question? KD6EIR?
Yeah, that's true. Ever since the free turkey promotion, when they dropped them from a helicopter and found out they couldn't fly, which they parodied on that WKRP in Cincinnati radio television show. There's been a lot of those. All right, well, we'll take that as a yes, since you said you did do your fingers every now and then. Your question is, the International Space Station is weightless because A, it's in space where there's no gravity, B, it's orbiting the Earth. Or C, it fires its rocket boosters every 3 hours to counteract the Earth's gravity. Why is it weightless?
Ooh, it's got to be B or C. Because, the centripetal force would make it virtually weightless, but in order to maintain its orbit, I would think it'd have to fire boosters. I'll go with Charlie. How did I do?
Missed it by that much. Actually, it's orbiting the Earth. Yeah, that's all it takes. You get it far enough in the orbit, and it just falls around the Earth. The ISS is in a continuous free fall around the Earth, so it's any closer it would fall in, any further out it would just fly away. But it's their constant, like if you're in a plane, it's going down and you're weightless for a while. They're like that all the time. That must take special training. I'm sure it does. An airplane at the same altitude of the ISS would have 89% as much gravity as the Earth's surface, so it's the loop they're in. Hey, thank you, Wes. Appreciate it, buddy. Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, of course. W2AJR. You ever accidentally glued your hands together, fingers, any parts that you use for manual dexterity?
Good evening, Alex, everybody on the net. Yes, I have glued my fingers together for sure. And there's been a few times that I've glued some stuff on purpose. Every once in a while you get a cut, and sometimes the super glue is the fastest way to get that taken care of. Back to you, Alex. Ready for my question.
All right, Andy, I understand. Your question is, 300 million years ago, these creatures had a wingspan of 2.5 feet. Which creatures are we talking about? A, dragonflies, B, hummingbirds, or C, flying monkeys?
Oh, I think the flying monkeys, at least when I'm on an acid trip, have way bigger wingspans than 2 feet. I'm going to say dragonflies, Alex. Back to you.
You're quite correct, sir. Yeah, the flying monkeys do have a larger wingspan, as anybody knows who's seen the Wizard of Oz. And it is dragonflies. Yeah, they were more dragons than flies back then, and they ruled the skies. There were no birds around yet to compete with them or eat them. Of course, that would take a really big bird to eat a dragonfly that big, but... Okay, Andy, you got it, buddy. It's a W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. Moving next to Teresa in College Station, Texas. KE5MUX. You glue those hands together, I'll bet once or twice. The arts projects you work with.
This is KE5MUX, and hands together, no. I think I might have accidentally glued myself to the coffee mug that I was repairing once or twice, but not finger to finger or hand to hand. What question have you got for me tonight, Alex?
Well, Teresa, I think you got a hard question last time, but this one, heck, everybody knows this one, okay? In Japan, a mythical creature known as the Ittan Momen, I-T-T-A-N, M-O-M-E-N, is A, nature spirit that seduces women by singing American folk songs. I've tried that. It doesn't work. Not for me anyway. B, a large invisible cat that usually goes by the name Totoro and befriends young girls. Or is it C, a sentient roll of cotton that flies around at night smothering people to death? Yep, one of those is true. What do you think, Teresa?
Well, first off, Alex, I think you maybe were singing the wrong song. Try a different station and maybe you'll have better luck. And I think I'm going to go with B. That's my guess. Thanks for doing the net, Alex. 73 all KE5MUX.
One more time. I couldn't hear if that was sounded like either Bravo or Charlie.
That was Bravo, Alex. Bravo.
Just thinking, teacher, although I like Miyagi's work, anyway, the Japanese guy that does the Tortoro and spiritual way work. In this case, a Hitan Momen is a sentient roll of cotton that flies around at night smothering people to death. Now, it's a difficult question because we don't have those in the U.S. All we have are better not say it. Thank you, Teresa. Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. Ever accidentally glued your hands, fingers, or other parts of your dexterity digits together?
Good afternoon, Alex. This is Robert, VK2DY. Fingers together, fingers to objects, but never hand to hand. So just one hand, fortunately, has ever gotten glued to anything. So is that a yes or no? Anyway, go ahead with my question. VK2DY.
Yeah, I'll let Vicky decide. Your question is, La Ciguapa. La Ciguapa is a mythical Dominican creature, I got two more of these, depicted as a beautiful young woman with backwards feet. She lures lonely men from nearby villages and A, steals their money and credit cards after drugging their drinks. I think we may have a few of those here in America. B, makes mad, passionate love to them, killing them in the process. Sounds like that Australian mouse we talked about last week. Or C, tries to get them to make her some backward shoes for her backwards feet. What is La Ciguapa in Dominican culture?
I have people around me at the moment. I missed a couple of the answers. Could you just repeat the answers again? Thank you. VK2.
Okay, the La Ciguapa, C-I-G-U-A-P-A, does this to lonely men from the nearby village. A, steals their money and credit cards after drugging their drinks. B, makes mad, passionate love to them, killing them in the process. Or C, tries to get them to make her some backward shoes for her backward feet.
Yeah, it is that inside. The only one that I can think would make some sense would be to make love to them to kill them. VK2DY.
Yeah, that's it. It's woman with the backwards feet, beautiful young woman. The backwards feet lures men out of their village and makes mad, passionate love to them, killing. So, yeah, okay. Thanks. Thank you, Robert. Frank Lancaster, KC2, JPQ. Ever accidentally glued your hands, fingers, thumbs together?
Good evening, Alex and Vicky and everybody on the net. Yeah, I built radio control airplanes, and we actually at work made an instrument, was glued together with super glue, but we always at work had jars of acetone, so if you did stick your fingers together or something, you just dunk them in the glass jar and separate your hand. So I'm ready for my question, Alex. Back to you.
Okay, Frank, your question is, who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize? Was it A, Madame Curie, B, Eleanor Roosevelt, or C, Helen Keller, if only she could have found it? What do you think?
Well, you keep giving me them easy ones, Alex. I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to say B, Bravo. Have a nice week, Alex. Talk to you next week. KC2 JPQ.
Thank you, Frank. It was actually Madame Curie or Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize for her work. And the radium, etc. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate having you here. Let's go to Fred in Reno, K7 FPS. Well, Fred, I know the kind of projects you work on. I'm sure you've glued your fingers or hands together at least once, unless you're extremely careful.
That would be a negative, Alex. Whenever I sense that the cyanoacrylate ester is about to stick my fingers together, nope. The fingers have been stuck to the project that I'm trying to fix, but no. Anyway, ready for a question, Alex, K7 FPS.
All right, Fred, you get the last mythology question here. In Alaskan Inuit mythology, what is a mahaha? Just like it sounds, M-A-H-A-H-A. Is that A, a blue demon that terrorizes the Arctic and tickles its victims to death with its sharp nails while giggling like a maniac? I think I used to date her. B, a white demon who tells the give up their land since it now belongs to the United States. Or C, a holy man like a Mahatma, only without all the extra letters. What is a mahaha?
Well, that's a tough question, and Shane says alpha on that one. K7 FPS, back to net.
Oh, Fred, she's correct. It's it's a mahaha in Inuit mythology is a blue demon that terrorizes the Arctic and tickles its victims to death with its sharp nails while giggling like a maniac. Yeah, that's very good, Jane. Nobody knows the answer to that, so unless you're an Inuit person. Thanks, Fred. Patrick and Jane. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LHE. All right, you accidentally glue those hands together at one time or another, fingers or something.
Good evening, Alex. This is Patrick, KI7LAG. Yeah, glued fingers together, glued fingers to tabletops, glued fingers to tools. I've glued them to just all kinds of stuff. So let's go over the question.
Wolverham operators, we got soldered fingers and the load from our HOAs. Your question now, Patrick, is how many colors are in the rainbow? How many colors in a rainbow? A, 7, B, 8, or C, 1 if you're colorblind.
I'm going to go with B, Bravo, KI7LAG, back to net.
Yeah, I think you can see one more than the rest of us, which is cool. Some people can. They see in the ultraviolet range, but there's only 7. Yeah, only 7 colors in the rainbow. Don't ask me to name them all. It starts with ultraviolet blue and kind of works all the way up to infrared. So, thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Chad in Cadogan, Pennsylvania, KD3 BPA. Ever accidentally glued your hands, fingers, those parts together?
That I have.
Yep, good, you're normal. Your question is, what does the element O represent on the periodic table? The element, or what does O represent on the periodic table? Which element? A, oxygen, B, ozone, or C, the element of surprise?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one, please?
Sure, what element does O represent on the table? A, oxygen, B, ozone, or C, the element of surprise?
I'm going to go with C, the element of surprise.
Thank you, Chad. You always pick the humorous or semi-humorous answer, and it's actually oxygen, but that's okay. I fell asleep in chemistry class, too. Going next to Larry and Stephanie in Elk Grove, California, KN6JLX, KN6JLW. You guys ever glue your fingers or hands together with, like when you're reloading or anything?
Hey Alex, this is Stephanie KN6JLW and Larry KN6JLX. Oddly enough, only one of us has, and it's me. I've glued my fingers together, I've glued my fingers to projects, haven't learned my lesson, and unfortunately I never have acetone around when I do it. Go ahead.
Acetone, not acetone, like I keep pronouncing it. Okay, that's good to know. One of my wife looks at me weird when I ask her for a nail polish remover. All right, your question is, this insect-themed heavy metal band formed in Los Angeles in 1982. Known for their shock jock lyrics, they sold over 12 million records worldwide. Who are we talking about? A, Hornet, B, Wasp, or C, Sting?
All right, after much debate, we're both taking Bravo Wasp. Have a great, evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
Yep, you guys are correct. It's the Wasp is the insect-themed heavy metal band we're looking for. And, you know, I bought one of their debut albums. It was the debut album when they first came out in '82, but when I tried to play it, all I got was a buzzing noise. Then I realized, wait for it, I was playing the B-side. Chris in Hollywood, KQ4UPK. You ever glued your hands together or fingers together, Chris?
Yes, I have. Be ready for my question.
All right, Chris, what is the rarest blood type in humans? The rarest, is it A, B negative, B, AB negative, or C, EH, or A? It's only found in Canadians. Which one of those is the rarest?
I had to think about that one. I'm going to say EH.
That would definitely be a rare blood type, but I don't think they discovered it yet. But, you know, it's hard to get into Canada these days. It's AB negative, yeah, B. AB negative is the rarest blood type in humans, which, if you need a transfusion, you may want to be another blood type. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's go to Bill in Denville, Ontario, VA3YBS. Sorry about the Canadian joke, Bill. Your question is, who is known as the King of Pop? The King of Pop. And before I do that, have you ever accidentally glued your hands together? Sorry.
With the Canadian joke, have I accidentally ever glued my hands together? Well, I've done a lot of dumb things in my life, and my wife will attest to that. But gluing both hands together is not one of them. I've glued thumb to finger, finger to finger, but not both hands together. So I'm ready for my question.
Who is known as the King of Pop? Oh, there it is. A, Michael Jackson, B, Elvis Presley, or C, Orville Redenbacher?
Michael Jackson, VA3YBS.
Oh, you've heard about him up there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Michael Jackson was the King of Pop. Elvis Presley was, some people called him the King of Rock and Roll, but I That's kind of up for debate, but not so much with Jackson. All right, thanks, Bill. Is it W7FTM and K8VKY, Alex and Vicky, you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and going next to Bernie in Gretna, Louisiana, KJ5MNV. Yeah, welcome back, Bernie. I don't know if you've been on this one before, maybe once, so welcome back. And your question of the night is, have you ever accidentally glued your hands or fingers together?
Welcome back there, Alex, and appreciate y'all, Vicky. I've only been here once, and glad to be back. It's fun. I've worked with some pretty nasty stuff, and not necessarily glue my hands together palm to palm like that, but yeah, we get stuck a bunch. Big thing with working with the stuff is they always had, like you've heard other people say, plenty of acetone around that was available. But, the answer is yes. Okay, are we ready for my question?
Well, if you glue your together, if you're in church, it's not that big a deal because it just looks like you're praying, but anywhere else. I got you, Bernie. Your question is, which animal is famous for playing dead as a defense mechanism? Which animal famous for playing dead as a defense mechanism? Is that A, an armadillo, B, a possum, or C, your wife when she's not in the mood?
The local repeater ID here. Yeah, I live in the South, so we got both armadillos and possums, and I'm going to say possum on that one. KJ5MNV, back to net.
Yeah, that's the one. The possum. Now the armadillo, I don't think it plays dead. Unfortunately, it's not very good at crossing the road, as you know. I used to live in Oklahoma. It's unfortunate, but the possum, and of course I was only joking. And wives are not animals. That's usually. Thank you, Bernie. Catch out. There's a movie called Over the Hedge. It's got William Shatner that plays a possum who overacts while he's playing dead all the time, which he's poking fun at his own career, William Shatner's career. It's pretty funny if you haven't seen it. Anthony in Atco, New Jersey, W2HAV. Well, Anthony, have you ever accidentally glued your hands, fingers, knuckles, any parts of your hands together? Billy in Jersey, W2HAV, are you with us? Okay, well, maybe later. Let's go to Hal in Hillsboro, Oregon. KC7ZZB. Welcome back, Hal. You ever accidentally glued hands or fingers together?
Number of times, Alex. I think the worst is when I was holding a little insulator I had to glue back together in my left hand. Applied the glue with the super glue with the right hand. Unbeknownst to me, the tube had a crack in it. I ended up with the insulator glued to my fingers and thumb on the left hand, and the tube of super glue without a cap on it glued to my right hand. Lots of fun, but at least it wasn't the old crazy glue that acetone wouldn't touch. I'm ready for my question. KC7ZZB.
Sometimes WD-40 works better than acetone or alcohol. Sometimes the alcohol works better. Well, anyway, probably tried them all like I have. Your question is, okay, which fruit is known for keeping doctors away? Which fruit is known for keeping doctors away? A, just kidding. Okay. A, an apple. B, a banana. Or C, a fruitcake.
says an apple a day will keep the doctor away, so I think I'm going to go with that. KC7ZZP.
Yeah, that's an apple, as you said, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, or so the saying goes. However, if your doctor is a vegan, bacon works much better, I found out. Thanks. Thank you, Hal. Ray in Cody, Wyoming, KJ7RVB. Welcome back, Ray. You ever glued those hands or fingers together accidentally? Not on purpose, that'd be weird.
Yeah, good evening, Alex and everyone. And I, in high school, worked in a cabinetry shop and had a few very poor results, experiences with contact cement. Lay on my questions, sir.
Yeah, I remember wood shop in high school. I did that a few times. Your question is, what's the name of Harry Potter's owl? Harry Potter's owl. Do you know he has an owl? I didn't know that, but he has a name. Is it A, Hedwig, B, Hermes, or C, Hooters?
I'm going to go with A, Alpha. I've been to Hooters. There's no Harry Potter there. And I think B was British aircraft carrier, so let's go with A, Alpha. Good evening, back to net.
Correct on all three of those answers, and it's Hedwig is the Harry Potter's owl's name. I thought they just had that one that flew around the cafeteria, which would be interesting. Obviously, the health department doesn't visit Hogwarts, but thanks, thank you, Ray. You got it, buddy. David Nornsborough, W9DWH. Welcome back, David. You ever accidentally glued your hands together, fingers, anything there on that part where you handle stuff?
Good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Yes, I have.
Thank you, David. Your question is, what is the square root of 81? The square root of 81. A, that's way too much math for a stupid trivia net. B, 11. Or C, square root of 81.
Well, I took general math in school, addition, multiplication, all that. I only had to have one math credit, so since I really don't know, I'm going to take the fun way out and say, always enjoy it, Alex. Hope to catch you next week. W9DWH.
Well, it sounded like Charlie to me. Well, actually, I'd also take an answer A also. It's 9. But, yeah, he is also correct, so we'll take it. Thank you, David. Timothy in Tillamook, Oregon, KK7 NXV. You ever accidentally glued your hands or fingers together? KK7NXV. Yes, I've glued my fingers together before, and it generally isn't fun. Yeah. And your question is, what kind of creature is a Komodo dragon? A Komodo dragon. Is it A Game of Thrones extra, B, a lizard, or C, a mammal? I'm going to go for B. Bravo, KK7NXV, back to net. I appreciate it, you guys. Yeah, you got it, Timothy. It's a lizard. Some people think it's a mammal, but no, it's just a big-ass lizard. I mean, a large lizard. Thanks. They have a problem with them in Thailand. They walk into people's houses and buildings and places of residence. And yeah, anyway, thank you. Thank you, Timothy. Next up, we have, Rich came in via the text line KL4RCS in Meadow Lakes, Alaska. Hello, Rich. Ever glued your hands or fingers together? Is it too cold where you are? He's coming to the front door. He's taking his jacket off, his scarf, his second jacket, his galoshes. Rich, KL4RCS. That's okay. We just have one more and we'll be calling for more chickens. Last up we have Scott in Eastvale, California, N6 ZAR. Well, welcome, Scott. It looks like you're new to the net, and welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. Have you ever accidentally glued your hands together or fingers? Thing working? Scott, N6 ZAR, Eastvale, California.
Good evening, Alex and Vicky. Sorry about that. I don't know if I'm coming through now. The answer to the question is yes. N6ZAR.
Yeah, no problem. We allow for technical glitches on this net. So, the question tonight is, have you ever accidentally glued your hands together, or fingers for that matter?
Yes, I have. N6ZAR.
Oh, that's good, Scott. You're not a weirdo. I appreciate that. Your question is, what's the longest river in Asia? There's geography trivia. What's the longest river in Asia? Is it A, the river Styx, B, the Tigris River, or C, the Yangtze River?
Alex, I think I'm going to go with B. Thanks for doing the net. I've really enjoyed it. N6ZAR.
Thank you for being here, Scott. Hope to hear you next Saturday. And although the Tigris is pretty darn long, it's actually the Yangtze River is the longest river in Asia. I should have got the miles or the kilometers to be more appropriate. I didn't, but trust me, it's the longest one. Yeah, thanks. All right, this is W7FTM along with K8VKY, and we're taking more check-ins for the Saturday Night Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
KE2EHI, Kilo Echo 2, Echo Hotel, India.
This is Kilo 6 Kilo Juliet Victor. Kilo 6 Kilo Juliet Victor.
This is Kilo Golf 5 Yankee Uniform November. Kilo Golf 5 Yankee Uniform November, that is KG5YUN.
Whiskey, Delta 8, Papa, India, Charlie. Whiskey, Delta 8, Papa, India, Charlie.
Zulu Lima 2, Zulu Lima 4, India X-ray. Zulu Lima X-ray. Kilo India 5, Whiskey Uniform. Kilo India 5, Whiskey Uniform.
All right, then let's hold it there. We picked up Joe in Westerfield, New York, KE2EHI. We picked up Kevin in Valley Springs, California, K6KG. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WD8PIC. Welcome back, Bob. Jeb in Willis, Texas, KG5YUN. Zachary in Southwestland, New Zealand. Welcome, Zachary, ZL4IX. And Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU. Question of the night is, have you ever accidentally glued your hands together or fingers? And boy, this one's I think the guesses are gonna run away at this one. So let's go back up to the top to Joe in Westfield, New York, KE2EHI. What say you?
Good evening, this is Joe, KE2EHI, and no, I've never glued the hands or fingers together.
Well, Joe, you're just not working on enough projects. How about solder? I'd probably get a lot of responses on that one, too. All right, Joe, we got you down. And your question is, which philosopher drank poison hemlock? Which philosopher drank poison hemlock? Was that A, Stone, B, Socrates, or C, Plato after a dare?
Oh boy, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and go with A, Alpha. This is K2EHI, passing it back to net control, 7-3.
No, it wasn't Philosopher's Stone. It was Philosopher Socrates. He is the guy who drank the poison hemlock. Although Plato probably went on a dare, he liked to take risks. But anyway, that would be it. Thank you, and thanks for checking in. Hope to hear you next Saturday. All right, going next we have let's see. Oh, WDPIC. Hang on a second. I want to skip anybody. Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin, Valley Springs, California. K6KJV, welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. You ever accidentally glued your hands together or fingers?
Well, hello, Alex and Vicky and everyone else on the net. This is K6KJV, Kevin of Valley Springs, California. And if I said no, I would be lying. So back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate honesty here, at least from the people that check in, not really the controller. Your question is, what is the smallest country in the world? The smallest country in the world. Some people still miss this. Is it A, Liechtenstein, B, Vatican City, or C, your backyard when you were 5 years old?
Well, thank you very much for the softball. That would be the Vatican City. God bless, and 73, everyone. Back to you, Alex, from K6KJV.
Thank you, Kevin. Spoken like a man who's probably done the Vatican rag at one time or another, like I have. You're correct. Yeah, it's Vatican City. So, although it seems like your backyard when you're a kid. Thanks, buddy. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Let's go next to Bob in Sylvania, Ohio. W8WD8PIC. Hello, Bob. You ever accidentally glued your hands or fingers together?
No, and I hope I never do, but I have gotten it on my skin. And I didn't realize it, and by the time I realized it, it was there permanently. So I had to just wait for it to wear off. You could try the acetone, but you got to make sure that doesn't affect your skin. And also, my dad has done that lots of times because he was a model airplane. He built radio-controlled model airplanes very professionally too. If he got an airplane kit, he didn't just build the kit. He made it stronger and better, and because he had connections to the shop at Owens, Illinois, he would have whole new cockpits made, if it was a replica, to make it better, and it was neat. But yes, he's glued his hands together lots of times, and he actually let me feel his fingers one time when they were glued together before he used the acetone to get them apart. Go ahead.
Yeah, in those days, in the the model airplane glue, if it stayed on long enough, it was worse and harder to get off than super glue. But thank you, Bob. Your question is, what does DNA stand for? A, do not ask. B, deoxyribonucleic acid. Or C, dimethyl nitrogen acetate. What's DNA stand for?
I'm making a buzzing sound. B is in Bravo. And you should have played the Canadian side of that record, eh?
Thank you, Bob. You're correct. It's B. It's deoxyribonucleic acid is what DNA stands for. You know your DNA. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. All right, Jeb in Willis, Texas, KG5YUN. How you doing, Jeb? You ever accidentally glued your hands together, fingers, or any other digits?
This is KG5YUN, Jeb in Willis. Yes, I have. More than one.
I knew the answer to that question, and I'm not even wearing jeans. Sorry for the interruption. I had to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get the answer, Bob. Yeah, it's a B. You're correct. Yeah, deoxyribonucleic acid is what DNA stands for. You got it, buddy. And Vicky wants to know if you're really wearing pants, and she's getting excited. All right, Jeb and Willis, I'm sorry. You said yes, you have glued your hands together, so here's your question. If you take a Ziploc bag full of water and poke a hole in its side with a sharp pencil, you got that scenario in your head there, that image. A, the bag will explode, leaving a large puddle on the water. One more time. The bag will explode, leaving a large puddle of water on the floor and make your wife yell at you. B, the bag will start leaking, leaving a small puddle of water on the floor, but will still make your wife yell at you. Or C, the pencil can be put entirely through the bag and out the other side without breaking or leaking at all. What do you say about that?
Well, I'm divorced happily, so I don't have to worry about a wife. So that leaves me with the last option. You can stick the pencil all the way through the bag and it won't leak. And I'll leave you with a question, sir. How long have you been running this net? This is KG5YUN.
Well, thank you, Jeb. And to answer your question, Jenna, this is number 120, so it's been over a year, getting closer to 2 years, I guess. Anyway, you are correct. Yeah, you can push the pencil all the way through the Ziploc bag full of water, and it won't break or leak at all. Actually, you can use several pencils. Now, I haven't tried this. I'm just going by what somebody claims, or what a group of scientists who have way too much time on their hands claim, and yeah, you can do that. So, but yeah, thank you. Thanks, I appreciate you checking in. Or thank you, Jeb. Let me get on the right list. Zachary in Southwestland, New Zealand, ZL4IX. Welcome to the net. You ever actually glued your hands together?
Good. I'm down here in ZL. Yeah, name is Zach here, and no, I haven't glued my hands together there. Back to net.
You don't have super glue down there yet, do you? Well, that's okay. I'm sure it's coming. All right, Zach, your question is, I think this is worldwide. I don't know, but what is a jacron? A jacron, I didn't even spell it right. Jacron. A jacron. Is that A, the baby offspring of a jackalope? B, the leather patch on the back of a pair of blue jeans? RC, the small metal piece that attaches the handle to the crankshaft assembly of a modern hydraulic jack. What is a jackron?
I don't actually know the terminology there, but that's no worries. I'll have a go at the question there. I'm going to have to say, very hard one. I'll have to lock in Bravo there. This is ZL4IX. Back to net for the trivia. Trivia Net this evening.
Thank you, Zach. And you are correct. Yeah, and it's the leather patch, a jackron. JACRON is the leather patch on the back of a pair of blue jeans. Levi's added the patch in 1873 to stop customers from buying fake overalls. So they wanted to know it was their brand, and they stuck that leather. And to this day, you can find those leather patches on the back of the jeans. So anyway, well done, Zach, and welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. Hope to hear you again, buddy. Let's go to Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU. All right, you glued those hands or fingers together anytime during your life, Lynn?
Good evening, Alex and Vicki and everyone. Thanks for running the net. Always entertaining. KI5WW, Lynn in Houston. Yes, sir, I have doing model aircraft assembly, and dips and things like that, over a long time. So, yep, I'm guilty. Ready for my question, sir.
Yep, I got you, Lynn. Thank you. And here's a question that was sent in by Brent, KF6HDJ. It's a pretty good question. What is the only characteristic that differentiates mammals from other animals? The only characteristic that differentiates mammals from animals. Is it A, only mammals give birth to live offspring? B, only mammals produce milk to feed their young? Or C, only mammals are warm-blooded? What do you think, Lynn?
Good question. I made a D in biology in high school and never took anything past that, so I'm going to go with Bravo. Bravo. Back to you, KI5WW.
Well done, Lynn. You thought it through, and they're not called mammals for nothing. Yeah, it's only mammals produce milk to feed their young. And they got the mammary glands. Now, several fish and even reptile species give birth to live young, including sharks, rays, and skinks. The duck-billed platypus also lays eggs, but they have functional mammary glands. So there you go. Birds are warm-blooded but lack hair and do not have mammary glands. So yeah, only mammals produce milk to feed their young. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Got you down. Let's go to Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4BR. Welcome back, Brian. You on the text line. Via the text line. Have you ever accidentally glued your hands together, fingers or anything else?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody on the net. Yeah, I've glued my fingers a few times accidentally. It seems like it's almost impossible to use super glue without gluing yourself in the process. Only one time I can remember ever bad enough to where I almost thought I was going to have to seek medical help, but I managed to rip my fingers apart, and thankfully the glue tore instead of my skin. Anyway, what's my question, Alex?
Yeah, you find out whether or not you're thick-skinned when something like that happens. Because there's like the Dickens. Anyway, your question is, let's see, where are we? Parker pins. Remember Parker pins? Their reputation in Mexico was smudged when their slogan, "It won't leak in your pocket and embarrass you," was incorrectly translated to Spanish as A, "It won't leak in your pocket and cause gas," B, "It won't leak in your pocket and make you pregnant," or C, "It won't leak in your pocket and deport you." What boo did they make on that translation?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know that I know the answer to that one. I'm going to say, for the heck of it, I'll guess B, Bravo. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you there, Alex. This is AC4BR.
No problem, Brian. Nobody's probably ever heard that question before, and you were correct, though. It's their Parker Penn's slogan, "It won't leak in your pocket and embarrass you," in Mexico translated into "It won't leak in your pocket and make you pregnant." Although I'm sure they probably thought it was pretty funny down there like we would here. Thanks, Brian. This is W7FT1 with K8VKY, and you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're taking more check-ins now. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Three Alpha Whiskey Alpha, the K3 AW.
We picked up Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3AWA. Welcome back, and let's see, anybody else want to check in? One more and we'll have 40, just saying.
W2PW, W2 Papa Whiskey.
And thank you, Press W2PW, for checking in. I appreciate that. You got, okay, Daryl and Press, and, well, question of the night, have you ever accidentally glued your hands together? Daryl in Australia, VK3AWA, what do you think?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and listeners. Yeah, many times, Alex. I guess it's a legacy of using super glue for all sorts of stuff down here. But yeah, I have quite a few times over many years. Back to you, Alex.
Yeah, I think this is something that most of us can relate to. Your question is, what is Juan Ponce de Leon credited with discovering? Famous Spanish explorer. What did he discover? A, the Fountain of Youth. B, Florida. Not so much the Fountain of Youth these days. Or C, Detroit. What did Juan Ponce de Leon discover?
I'm going to Florida, Alex.
I can get you to drink the Fountain of Youth. Yeah, it's Florida. Yeah. Juan Ponce de Leon is discovered Florida. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people in this country don't know that answer, and you pulled it out, Daryl. Thank you, buddy. All right, Press in Pachagoy, New York. I think it's pronounced that way, W2PW. Welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. Have you ever accidentally glued your hands together, or fingers?
Well, good evening, Alex. Never been on the net. W2PW. My town is pronounced West Islip, but the log hasn't caught up with me. I used to live in Patchogue. And a couple of things, Alex. I wanted to compliment you because at the beginning of the net, you took on the word Cheektowaga without fear, and you just did it. You went for it. And what do you got for me?
Yeah, no problem, Press. Most people know I can't pronounce half the names on the East Coast anyway, but your question is, okay, this is a tough one. Now, the sport franchises now known as the Oakland Athletics, New Jersey Devils, Minnesota Twins, and Sacramento Kings were all at some point in their history located in which U.S. city? Was that the U.S. city? A, Kansas City, B, Los Angeles, or C, Montreal?
I'm going to say Los Angeles, but I'm not real confident on that. But before you let me go, I've got one for you. So how does my answer stack in?
How does your what, who?
How did my answer of Los Angeles work out for me?
Oh, yeah, no, these teams go way back, and it's Kansas City. Yeah, it's Kansas City. And I didn't know this either. The Oakland Athletics, New Jersey Devils, Minnesota Twins, and Sacramento Kings were all in Kansas City at one time or another. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. The question is, why does super glue work so darn well on fingers? A, the non-gel formula seeps into the fingerprints, but the gel does not. B, super glue ordered from Wish only works on hangnails. And C, it was actually designed as a field suture in the Korean War, so it's supposed to work this well on skin. What's your choice?
You know, well, I'm betting it's either A or C. Let's give the Koreans credit. Let's see, because I know it can use for sutures, and I actually used it for that for a long time before they, was it Band-Aid or some company came out with the liquid bandage. Anyway, what's the answer?
It is C. Actually designed to do the job it does very well. Thank you for letting me guest transmit tonight.
And no problem, and thanks for joining the Trivia Net, and we hope to hear you next Saturday. All right, we'll take more check-ins here before we... Oh, it's only 9:20 over here in Arizona, so I know late for you guys on the East Coast. Full call sign, phonetically twice, please, and we'll get you a trivia question. All right, then, and with that, we'll call it a net. I appreciate everybody who checked in tonight. We had 40 people check into the net tonight, and of those who weren't in and out and answered questions, 26 of you got your question correct, and only 12 of you missed your questions tonight. That's better than normal. And as far as the gluing your hands or fingers together, most everybody does it. 20 people have, and 9 people haven't, so that's 75, a little over 75% to 24% yes to no. Again, I'd like to thank everybody who participated. With special thanks, of course, to Vicky K8VKY for logging the net in the background and providing humorous commentary. The East Coast Reflector hosts a variety of interesting nets during the week, most of which she logs. For more information, visit eastcoastreflector.com and select the Nets tab on the main page. We now return control of the East Coast Reflector back to normal amateur use until next week at the same time when the control voice will take you to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. 7:30. Good night. W7 FTM Clear.